that point, you'd be looking at a meeting right at Christmas. So it would need to be sometime between Christmas and New Year's, if you were gonna hold another meeting, and wait till December to authorize advertisement.
I think I would recommend that we have a continuation meeting on December 1st, give you enough time to put everything together.
But even the week before that, the week of the 27th. Does that work?
Do Tuesday, 11/28. Thursday, 11:30.
6 p.m.
Everybody else's schedule, 28th works great for me. I've got nothing that day.
Anybody have any conflicts with the 28th?
It's not 9 o'clock in the morning, is it?
No,
6 p.m.?
6 o'clock sounds good to me.
Yep.
I have a question on that ladder truck for $45,000 a year for, I believe it was 20 years. Just like EMS,
I think it was 10 years.
municipalities that use it, it's split. Are other municipalities paying towards that ladder truck over these 20 years?
Isn't it, I thought it was 10 years. Was it 20 years?
Yeah,
Yes.
20 years or until it's paid off,
Until-
which they're
Or
already
other
doing fundraising.
municipalities that use this truck, or only New Freedom residents paying for this ladder truck?
Well, the 45K is just a small part of the ladder truck. I mean, they went out to get donations from other municipalities, so I'm assuming that other municipalities are also going to be paying for the ladder truck.
They do. They get quite a bit.
Can you bring that back to us, how much each municipality that is First Due is putting towards that ladder truck?
I already have it.
Oh, okay. Well, then, go for it.
Well, I don't know that the other municipalities specifically broke out an allocation for the truck. I think they just,
Donation to
yeah.
organization.
yeah, I think New Freedom was the only one out of the local municipalities that did a separate MOU for that. So I think the numbers that would come back would be, here's what Shrewsbury Township, really, because that would only, as far as other First Due, I mean, it depends obviously on the regions, but whatever their contribution would be, you could, I guess, take a percentage of that, allocate to the truck, but I think they use most of that for operating expenditures.
Yeah.
I'd like to know just what they're putting towards that ladder truck.
Well, you say
You can't come up with a figure. They come up with a donation, and what the fire company does with it is kind of their business.
Then whatever the donation is, can you bring that back?
That I certainly can bring back, but they don't determine that this is what you must use it for.
Keep in mind that you say First Due. It's not like ambulance. I mean,
All right.
Glen Rock has their own
Well,
fire.
you know,
Glen Rock has their own fire
Sure.
company. Shrewsbury Borough has their own fire company. So
So the only one that really makes a donation
it would be Shrewsbury
is
Township.
Shrewsbury Township.
Right. And they do make large
Yes.
So, just as a follow-up, did anybody have any questions, other questions on the charts or the appendix items that were included? No, okay.
Okay. We're going to take a 10-minute, 5-minute? 5-minute recess.
We don't have a whole lot.
Okay, give me a minute. got an appointment at the VA tomorrow,
I've seen.
so leave it.
I think it was 3 nights.
Anything exciting happens, let me know. VA in the morning, so I'll be there at 8:15. So I'll leave.
You have to go to 11?
No,
Oh, you saw it.
North has a gate facility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For a couple of years.
I thought they were all further away.
No, they've got one off of Market Street. West? Yeah,
Okay.
in New York.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Make sure I got it.
What do you think? I need to leave there. Oh, you got all this side too. Goodness gracious. Oh, so. Is that right?
Good idea,
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I had been submitted the 27th. Today's Monday. The same day. It's Tuesday. Gotcha.
I've seen quite a few out here at Old Stadium. Yeah, well, it might be the one that's firing siren one for us.
You still running,
One out
Kim?
here. You go pick that one up.
I should have turned it off.
No, you're fine. Okay, we're gonna call back to order. Public comment.
Public comment. Oh. Well, I'm just here to talk about the parade, excuse me, which we're still getting excited about. We want all of you guys to get excited about. I didn't forget about you, Sarge, we do need you. December 2nd, it's coming along very nicely. I think my numbers are in the 60s now. So this is a big event for us. And it showcases New Freedom. This is what I'm trying to get at. It showcases New Freedom very well. 43 will be here. GAL 8 will be here. 1103 will be here. So we're getting a lot of publicity that day. So New Freedom is going to shine. Everybody's going to know what's happening in New Freedom. So that being said, I saw the newsletter. Thank you, Andy. It looks awesome. People are talking about that I've seen. We're asking everybody to light their homes up because a lot of people are coming into town. We're talking about people, my people that I know, relatives and all, they're bringing up buses from Maryland to see this thing. I know you've seen the billboards all around. Take a look next week on 83. It's just, I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. And I tell everybody, this is my baby. If nothing else matters to me, this event matters to me. And that's what I was saying about, well, we can't have it, well, we could have it outside, but True Value was a big player with us, with the tents and the lighting and the heat and all that kind of stuff. So now, of course, you know, we have to move it inside, or we're going to move it inside or whatever. Our sponsorships have been, you know, trickling in here and there, but they do help. If you know of anybody that's still interested in being in the parade, their group or whatever, they probably want to contact me or us as soon as possible. Because every day my phone is ringing and everybody's calling and calling. Like the Mason-Dixon Christian Riders, they have 14 horses and, you know, people just stuff, you know, that people are bringing to make this thing happen and make it look fantastic. So, in saying that, we decided to move the reception, as we're calling it, to the community center. And, you know, we're having pancakes with Santa. That's going very well. I mean, people are calling to get tickets for their kids, you know, to come in for that or whatever. But in saying
Is
that,
that free, Myra?
no,
Was it like $3?
$3. And the reason we did that, because we didn't want people coming up saying, I'm gonna bring my 10 grandkids, and they take 10 tickets, and they don't show.
Can't you have other places? I think I only saw 2 places that are selling tickets.
Yes, Scissors here.
Yeah, can't you have some other places that sell tickets for you?
Well, 7 has now stepped up and said they can sell tickets,
Good.
you know, so, but it's moving. And the reason we did that with the $3 donation is because people just don't take tickets and not use them, because Tasteful Occasions need something to work with, because they're supplying it, they're doing it. So we figured we'd do a little small donation, and that donation goes to Rose. It just made more sense than having tickets out there that are not gonna be used.
Myra, is that the same morning? Is that the morning of the parade?
Yes, 9 to 11. 9 to 11. And I think I got a call from Crescent, and they said they had a lot of, they did bags or something for the sesquicentennial. And they have tons of bags of stuff that represent them and the town that they weren't able to give out. So they asked if they could walk around town that day, some of the employees, and hand out these bags. Of course you can, because it's Christmas time in New Freedom, the whole day. So we want people mingling and going in from shops and all this kind of stuff around town. I know, Mayor, you mentioned that, like the community center, and I said something about budgeting and that kind of thing. We don't get too much into that, because this is something that we decided that we wanted to do for this town, because we love this town. And we just do it. Do I think it's fair, or would it be feasible to ask for something towards the people, for the people of this town? Yes. And as far as giving me the community center, you're not giving me the community center. The community center belongs to the community.
But you're not paying for it that day, and we could have gotten $625.
Okay, but if you poll this community and you ask them, do they want $625 for somebody to rent that community center? Or do they want something grand for the people who pay taxes and live here?
No, I'm just saying, we are giving you something.
Well, you're not giving it to me. It's the community. It belongs to the community, and we're using it for the community. That's just how it is. You know, I don't like the fact that you think that you're giving me something, because you're not giving it to me. We're doing something for this town that's massive and that makes a difference. And people appreciate it. You know how many people that come to me every day, thank you so much for what you do for this town. Thank you for what you do for Southern York County. This parade, you know, and I like that. I love that.
We do need to move on, Myra, but I will make a motion that we donate $250 to the parade on 12/2.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye.
Thank you.
Hey, Myra, quick question. Are you gonna be at the meeting in Borough tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Because you can talk about a place for them to do the tickets there too.
Yep, I will. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Denise says.
Yes.
Hi, do you want me to just stay here? I
No.
can just stay here.
As long as I can hear you. It's
Just
invading
hit,
my ears.
hit the button there.
You can hear me. I'm good. I just wanted to make a request. Apparently, this is a good night to come for budget purposes. I'm requesting that the parking lot at the community center be repainted. I'm someone that goes there every day, and yes, I am a pickleball person, so have at me as you will. Parking there on a daily basis is haphazard at best. Now that the lines are as faint as they are, most of you should have taken notice of that on election day when you were there. And at night, it's even worse. Most of the times when we come out, the lights are not even on. So when the lights aren't on, you can't even see the lines. So since this is, the facility is the home of the South Central Senior Center, there are multiple cars there during the day, and the elderly people have a hard time finding their lines. So it seems to me at this juncture, it's a safety issue. And if the borough doesn't want to be responsible for that, I would hope that you would take that into consideration and get this taken care of as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would entertain a motion to ask the manager to get a quote for repainting the lines at the community center.
Did we do that before, Public Works? Not that they need any more work, but
Yeah, it's not the best time of year to be painting
Painting
lines,
lines,
but
yeah.
well, we've asked for this for months. Yeah. I've brought it up several times.
one of the main reasons that we were trying to delay as long as possible is because if we were talking about budget things, there's definitely a need to do some kind of overlay or repaving on that parking lot. So we were trying to push that down the road a little bit, and not just paint the lines on to the next year or the next couple months to be overlaid and kind of waste those funds. If we can do something in the interim, just to brighten up the lines, since we really don't have anything budgeted for next year anyway.
The fire company did their own. I'm wondering if they don't have the, nobody's here. I'm wondering if they don't have the machine that you just you put a spray can in there and,
Yes.
you know, they did theirs in, I don't know, like 2 hours over on theirs because they were getting so bad, they just didn't.
Can you get us a
Take care
quote?
of getting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
On that topic, I have a question. Can we add handicap spots outside the community center doors, since there's already 2 or 3 outside the senior center doors? I know it's
There
technical.
are.
There are, you just
There are, you
can't
just
see
can't
them.
see them.
It's
It's
that-
very
I
faint.
actually tried to look for them.
Yeah, they are.
I think there's only 2.
There's 2,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's
I
so
know
faint
it's-
at this point, you can't even see it.
Yeah, I know it's one building technically. and There's
Right,
a, there's
yeah,
a, there's an
we just have to keep
allocation.
in mind that, yeah, that those parking spaces, there's a percentage that you have to
Yeah.
keep, that it has to be pretty flat.
I'm just saying, because sometimes people will just come for the senior center, sometimes they'll just come for the community center.
And I will say, sometimes you get
Thank you.
some seniors, you know, that are ADA compliant, they park along the side of the building. So
Anybody
maybe
else?
that adds some extra.
Along.
I know that there was an issue with the lights that were replaced with Net Ed, and there were supposed to be covers that were coming, because when you go to my house, it literally looks like it's work being done on 695. So I have pictures that I took tonight standing in my garage, and it literally, my car and myself post a shadow as if you were out at 12 noon on a bright sunny day.
Yeah, we have the shields, and we're just trying to find the right opportunity to get out, but we do have a list. I don't think your house was on the list, but so we'll add it to that.
I have it here.
Okay, because I'll show you the pictures. It's literally, you can see my complete shadow before I came down to the meeting.
Okay.
On the topic of parking at the community center, council's given directions, Tasteful Occasions was not to park their box truck in front of the doors of the community center. It's there now, they regularly park it there and leave their personal vehicles right there overnight. Direction be given again to Tasteful Occasions that they're to use the side parking lot for their box trucks and personal vehicles to allow that parking for the senior center and people coming to use that senior center daily.
Do we have, we talked about putting a sign up for senior center and tasteful occasions in front of the building somewhere. Did we ever?
Why would you get the building?
Either out on, you know, somewhere so people know that the senior center's there and they know tasteful occasions is there.
But
Tasteful occasions should be parking their boxes on the side of the building. There is
I'm not
plenty
talking
of
about
parking.
boxes, I'm talking about a sign. We said we were gonna sign the building. I don't think we ever followed up on it to do it, or if someone's looking for the senior center, they have there's a little sign on the door.
So you're talking that they're there, not
Right.
parking.
Yeah,
Well, this
I
is-
agree with you on the parking, and that should be on the side.
We've already told them before, so they need to be told again.
I can understand the box truck, but they're a paying tenant, just like the senior center. If the senior center is allocated spaces, they should be allocated spaces as well.
But I
Well,
think
they
it's
can
just
be on the
overnight. I just
side.
think it's the overnight thing.
Well, it is overnight, but still, community members are coming to use that facility, and they're taking up several spaces within that first row that could be used for somebody that doesn't walk as well, maybe has, you know, a cane or whatever, why they should have to park one or two rows back or further away when able-bodied people are able to park on the side of the building where they have been instructed to park before.
Especially when they're not using them over the weekends or when they're
Well,
finished
you
during
know,
the week.
they're coming and parking their car, it's not like they're getting in and out, the people that work there. They could park their car on the side and then, get the car when they leave.
Or what about that little strip that's the gravel part?
That's
That's what we're talking
the
about,
side of
yeah,
the
they're
building.
supposed to
Oh, I
park
thought you
them
meant
over
like on
there.
the sides, yeah.
That's been the direction before.
Cause you had, you have what, 24 pickleball players? That's 24 cars plus the cars for the senior center. If they've got 3 of their vehicles there and the box truck takes up sometimes 4 spaces if they don't hit the lines.
Yeah, I think the box truck should be parked on the side of the gravel. And that's just common courtesy. I'm not gonna tell them they can't park cars there though, because they're a renting tenant, and they get some percentage of parking spots.
I'm gonna ask for the lady that was here and left twice, because I'm sure she didn't realize that tonight was a budget meeting, but she was the lady that came last month about the stop and chill, and she thought people were living there. Was there a resolution to that?
Oh, good question.
That's a good
Yes. Yeah, we met with the property owner, again, inside the facility. The deliveries are product, and the reason the vehicle is staying there is he doesn't want to put the miles on it, and he takes an Uber back and forth. There's no proof that there's anyone living there, there's no increase in any water usage that we can see.
What was all the
There's
building
no apartment in the back.
Okay. And she was here, and I know that's where she left, and then she came back, and then she left again, so I'm sure that's what she wanted to know.
I wasn't at the last meeting, but, and to piggyback on that, I think there are neighbors that live right there who has said that they saw a truck come there and unload toilet, sink, cabinet, that kind of stuff. So that's not for stuff to sell, is it?
No,
Sinks?
but again, the area in the back is open. There's, whether it was there and it's not there anymore.
But, and I got a question, isn't a retail facility have to have a bathroom for employees in there? So if it was a toilet, a sink, and a
Yeah.
cabinet, they could have just been upgrading the current bathroom, not,
It's a possibility, because heaven knows what was
I mean, the
in
bottom
there.
line is it was investigated and there's nobody obviously living there, or there's no
Yeah,
apartment or anything,
again.
so.
Do I understand why you would take an Uber when you have the cars to the?
It's a little,
you could have a company
You
vehicle.
think you wanna leave it at home and take the Uber to work and back home again?
Well,
Yeah, and park that sucker in your garage when it's a Maserati.
my understanding is it feels a little safer parking it here.
All right,
all right, well, that answers the question. And then, I guess if we could just
Again, if there
ask,
would be a a room or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
like
if there
that?
was some evidence, sure. And if you could ask them to park the box truck on the side again, that would be good. They did good with the election, they didn't have it out front, so. Anything else? Alright. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held October 16th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Changes, discussion?
First, the word draft isn't over our minutes. It is missing. Under the treasurer's report, it says that the motion was approve the reports presented pending audit. The word audit was never spoken. The word review was for the treasurer's report, but the word audit wasn't. And again, I looked back, and in the August 23 minutes, it said again, treasurer's report pending audit. Nobody said pending audit in the meeting, so make sure that we get the motions accurately stated.
Well, we need to make sure we say pending audit, but that is a given, it is pending audit. We can't
No.
approve it until it's been audited.
But it wasn't said, so we can't put it in official minutes. And in the Lions Club agreement, the discussion was that the Public Works will inspect after the rental, and there will be a security deposit will be required. That could be in the official minutes for that.
Anything else? And your motion?
I made the second, I didn't make the motion.
I'm still moved on this, yeah, this meeting.
With the corrections?
Yes.
I'll amend my second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. I would entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report pending audit.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion, questions?
I'm sorry, who was the first and second?
That was the motion, and Vanel was the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye.
Just one quick follow-up. Mayor, I know you mentioned the past due accounts earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So just last week, our billing clerk processed 47 shut-off notices totaling just over $40,000.
I saw it was 46,000 total for
Yeah.
the month.
I think it was 49, yeah.
49?
Yeah, so,
Is there something going on? I mean, that's not usual.
if you look at the
Yeah,
chart,
I
it
know,
waves.
yeah.
Back in May, I think we had about the same.
That's crazy. Okay, sign regulation.
So this was a tabled item from the last meeting. Again, what you had in front of you at that point was just a draft ordinance to update language in the zoning ordinance to kind of better reflect signs and regulations and help promote and allow businesses to have signage. We've received requests for in the past. Tonight I did include, there's a printout of the current zoning ordinance, the current table of chart regulations and a copy of the zoning map, just for review. So I don't know if everybody had a chance to kind of go through that draft ordinance from the last time, if there were questions, concerns, comments. Again, this is just a draft. This is just to update the language first. There's an entire process that this would have to go through in order to move forward. Council would need to just kind of give your blessing on it. At that point, we need to go to York County Planning Commissions for their review, come back to the Borough's Planning Commission for their review, and hold a public hearing at a Borough Council meeting, and then approval by Borough Council. So there's multiple steps that we need to go through here in order to make this change. This is just the first kind of review, completely open to suggestions, changes, questions.
Got a question. On the last page, the second, number 2, no permit to erect a sign shall be issued unless the required fees have been paid to the zoning office. Which fee shall be established by resolution of the Borough Council? Are those fees, should they be in here? I mean, are they a separate set of fees from?
Yeah, we do that by resolution. Every year we have a fee schedule, and that's approved by council. So I guess it'll probably be January, we'll approve it again.
We approve that as part of the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes into effect January. If there would be a change to how we permit sign regulations, we would have to adopt that by resolution at that time of this ordinance adoption. And then the next time it will come up in December, roll that into a new resolution. So it really should lie separate, because if the fees are in the ordinance, then you need to amend the ordinance. And then you're talking about advertising dollars and things, so it's a lot cleaner to amend those by resolution moving forward. A little cheaper too, you're not paying advertising.
So what's the next step on this, is to send it to planning?
The next step for this would have to go to York County Planning Commission as a possible amendment to the zoning ordinance. Their staff would review, provide a recommendations letter back. At that time, we would schedule our planning commission meeting to review it. They would provide a recommendation letter or change letter to council, and then we would have to hold a public hearing during a regular.
It's like a land development plan.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. And that's for any zoning ordinance change.
And since somebody else requested this, who pays for the fees for zoning hearing board and everything?
It doesn't go to zoning hearing board. It doesn't go,
Oh, it just
there's no
goes-
charge to go to York County Planning Commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to send it to York County Planning Commission. Is there any further discussion, or does anyone have any changes on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
My vote is aye.
Does this go through as an ordinance?
Not yet. Yeah, this, again, just all draft.
I'll talk to you later in the office about it. I would just like to see what the complete differences are between this and the old.
Did you have any updates to the stormwater channel, or just the letter that we got?
Just as a follow-up from the last meeting, we talked about that technical deficiency letter that we received from DEP. Just actually today, there was a response back to DEP on those deficiencies, so now that clock starts over again, and we'll wait to hear back from them.
For lack of a shovel.
Yep.
Glen Rock Police Coverage Agreement status. I think what we were looking for there was just an update on Glen Rock's approval.
It was approved and passed.
does that relate to the intergovernmental agreement? Because we're running out of time to advertise that for adoption. I know it was basically finalized, and there was only a couple of things that needed cleaned up, but
The meeting, December 5th. And the commission meeting is the 6th.
okay.
You anticipate it should be able to be done?
Hope so. Pretty much done.
So then, council will have to review that at the December 11th meeting, authorized advertisement, and then it's gonna have to be adopted in January, which I don't think.
Okay, rental housing and occupancy ordinance.
The discussion at the last meeting was to review, just pull out the Glen Rock ordinance from the packet that you received to look at independently. So hopefully everybody got a chance to look at that, kind of break down the requirements, see if there's any questions.
I make a motion to adopt the Glen Rock Borough rental ordinance.
That would just be to advertise.
Or advertise, to adopt it or move forward
Okay.
and switch out, what's your freedom to do.
I'll second that.
Say again?
I can second that if I'm gonna move it forward.
I have-
Just for
I
the
have-
discussion.
I'm sorry?
I'd say it's just for the discussion after the second.
Right, yes. Does anyone have anything to discuss? I do.
I thought this was just for review, not for consideration or adoption.
Okay, well. I mean,
Because
we have a motion in a second.
we had one already drafted, and we said, well, let's take a look at Glen Rock's first. Well, maybe there's some things we want to integrate between the two, now that we have Glen Rock's, rather than just arbitrarily
What do you have
adopt
drafted?
Glen Rock's.
You were only showing Spring Groves.
No, we had a new Freedom one that you did based on Spring Grove.
That's correct.
Because they had
Yeah,
been Freedom
it was
one.
updated for everything.
It was updated, yeah.
All right, well, I have a lot of
Basically
questions.
theirs.
So
Well, I do too.
I'm gonna start,
Looking at this.
I'm gonna start asking them. On page 15, or the first page actually, it says, be responsible for extermination of insects if your unit is the only one infested. It's the owner's responsibility if 2 or more units or a common area are infested. How would that apply as an example to Juanita? Because there was only one rental unit. The rest of them were owner occupied. There was actually 2 rental units, but
I'm sorry, where
not
are
by the
you?
first page, right, under occupants of residential rental property shall.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And third one down, it says be responsible for extermination. So that would actually mean that if we would have known it was a tenant, then the tenant should have been responsible for the extermination. But we didn't know that there was a tenant involved. That's aside the point, but the important question here is, who would be responsible? It's one townhouse in a row of townhouses that is a rental unit.
It talks about the owner.
Where?
Yeah, someplace I know it said the owner under certain circumstances responsible.
Yeah, if there's more than one unit.
Whenever infestation is caused by failure of the owner to maintain a rental property unit in a rodent-proof or reasonable insect-proof condition, extermination thereof shall be the responsibility of the owner.
But the owner didn't do it, the tenant did.
They have to keep their premises in.
Not once the tenant's in, according to the IPC and according to this document, it says that the tenant has to if it's only a single rental unit. I think it's ambiguous. I think that needs to be changed. Or
Under owner responsibilities.
it says,
So that it was the owner's responsibility to cause the failure to maintain it because of their tenant.
They should be inspecting their own tenants.
that's not,
Well,
no, that's
under-
not,
under
that would
tenant
be,
responsibilities, B3, it says that the tenant's also responsibility for keeping it insect and rodent free.
right.
It doesn't-
So it's one unit, it would have to be the tenant. That's how it's interpreted under the IPC.
But how is it written under this ordinance?
Well, again, the introductory says, be responsible for, the occupants are responsible for extermination. That's what it says at the very beginning, the first title page.
But wouldn't occupants be whether they're a homeowner or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wouldn't an occupant be a homeowner or a tenant?
It could be, but we don't really care if, apparently, I mean, this is a rental, it's only a rental.
But that was what I'm saying, is if you make it occupant and then like in parentheses put either tenant and or owner, that would cover whether it's a homeowner or a
I
tenant.
understand what you're saying, but no, that legally not. You have to define who is going to be responsible in this
But what I'm
sense.
just saying, occupant, you can then make it definitive whether they're a tenant or a homeowner.
No, you can't, because this is a rental ordinance.
It only applies,
Homeowner
it only
ordinance.
applies to
Under-
rental people and landlord.
Look, under tenant responsibilities, where it references 1B4, every occupant of a rental property or of a dwelling unit in a structure containing more than one dwelling unit shall be responsible for the extermination of insects and rodents
Right.
on the
But it
premises
says more
whenever
than one,
such
more than one unit.
But it says occupant.
unit is the only one infested. Well, you started out with 117,
How do you know that?
because the borough took 117 to the magistrate, saying it was 117 before they made the 180 decision it wasn't.
No, that's not true.
Well, we
Part
didn't say
of
it
the
wasn't,
reason,
we said we couldn't prove it.
right, exactly. They said we couldn't
Before the
prove.
borough backtracked then.
Disruptive conduct, okay? First of all, this whole disruptive conduct thing is, number one, it's going to increase our PPUs. That aside, let's say I'm a wife, and I'm sitting there, and my husband is abusive, and he gets drunk and he hits me. So if I call the police, and the police come, and I've got my two little kids here, and that's a disruptive conduct report. So I get one, that's one, then I get another one, he hits me again, I get another one, what happens? I get thrown out with my two kids, because it's the total sum of the people in that unit that all get dinged with this disruptive conduct report, and then I'm not allowed to rent. So what do I do if I'm I'm in an abusive situation? I would guess I don't call the police. I just get abused because I don't want my kids out on the street. That would be one of my thoughts. Public drunkenness, consumption of alcohol. And this doesn't even have to be a police officer. And not only that, it says that disruptive conduct can be declared by the codes inspector. It doesn't even have to be under the PA Crimes Code.
Officer Smith was at the Stewartstown meeting at the beginning of this month. He spoke to the disruptive conducts, that it is under the discretion of the officer. Somebody brought up, wonder if I don't like a tenant and I keep calling on them. The officer said, just because they get called out does not mean a disruptive conduct is written, and that if
I don't
another
think
occupant.
Stewartstown didn't adopt this.
Yes, they are.
I don't think they are. They
Just
haven't yet.
for clarification, they're only looking at the disruptive conduct piece of the rental ordinance. They are
Yes.
not looking at a rental ordinance in its entirety. They do not want inspections, they do not want that, but they want to pull out the piece of Glen Rock's ordinance of the disruptive conduct.
because they're getting multiple calls to multiple locations in a given week. Officer Smith said that if some occupant is calling on another occupant, they will write the disruptive conduct on the person that's calling them out when there isn't a disruptive conduct.
Oh, that's good.
Because they're not gonna put up with that.
So then we're making the police, judge, jury, and executioner. I like that too. Let's go to the next one here, family. A family shall be considered one parent and children related to each other by blood, marriage, adoption, or legal foster relationship.
Are you under definitions?
Yeah, page 18. So now we've just defined what a family is. That means if your grandkids are living with you, or you have two adults, each with a child, that are sharing an apartment, that's illegal. You can't do that. I don't want to define what a family is. How about rental units? A rental unit would be the Hitty property, because she's got her granddaughter living there and she doesn't live there anymore. She lives over in the Lutheran home. So that's now a rental unit, so we would have to inspect it. How about Carter Herman's property? He has his daughter living there, he's no longer living there, so that's a rental property, and we would have to inspect that as well.
What's the, I'd have to ask the solicitor what he thinks about that, because it's immediate family.
It's not what it says.
Yeah, that's not what that ordinance says.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Normally, the way that's done in rental ordinance is unless your name's on the deed, it's rental.
Right. It's number 6 says each owner is responsible to be aware of and act to eliminate disruptive conduct in all residential rental units. That defies any, you know, we have the police. We have them and we have laws and they enforce them. Are we really going to throw people out of their apartments because they're disruptive according to this ordinance?
What about all the people that live around them?
What about what about if one of those people is disruptive, but they own their own property, so they don't get dinged, they don't get any kind of a thing? They could just be disruptive all they want.
Well, if somebody calls the police
nuisance
over a
ordinance
nuisance.
against them. You know, there are ordinances to take care of that. If the borough would want to enforce the ordinances that they already have. This is just as residents that own their home, persons who rent living quarters also have responsibilities to uphold. Below are some of the responsibilities outlined in the ordinance. This is a protection for the owner of the property as well as for the renter of the property.
But you hit the nail right on the head. I agree with you 100%. You said that the borough has nuisance ordinances to enforce. There are laws to enforce. Why do you want to single out renters as second-class citizens and say that we have to go after these people, but we're not going to go after people who own their own home?
Well, maybe if you have this in place, somebody wouldn't have recently moved into the cockroach infestation on Juanita Street because it would have had to have been inspected before the renter was allowed to move in.
Well, it kind of did.
No, there was a new renter in there.
I agree. We would have had to go in and inspect.
With all the signs up that say,
Yes, somebody's in that unit. That was the cause.
I don't believe it's in that
Well, it
one.
doesn't even have any
It's in
furniture
that
or
row
anything.
home,
It's
there
a
is a
kitchen.
landlord who rented it out, and had this been in place, he would have had to have it inspected prior to a renter coming in.
Right.
But that didn't happen because we don't have anything to protect the people who live around them.
Well, that's
And
why
the
we're
owner
looking into
and the
this,
renter.
isn't it? Part of the reason is we're looking into this.
Andy,
Doesn't sound like
Because of
something.
that.
could I say something, Andy?
absolutely.
Now, on this one, I did my homework. I talked to people and different political officials, and they said that we should stay as far away from this as we possibly can. They said because Hanover tried it, and they don't have it anymore, and it costs them more money than we can imagine. Well, people sue you all the time for a violation of their rights.
Well, that's Hanover. Did you call Glen Rock and ask them?
But,
Did you talk to Glen Rock?
There seems to work well.
I mean, this wasn't just Hanover, this is all over the country where they've lost.
Well,
A
we're
lot
not
of these
all over the
cases-
country, we're right here. So you
What?
talked to people, but did you talk to the
I don't
owner that's
understand, why
enforcing
can
it?
you refer to Glen Rock and this person is taxed and you talk about all their budgets and stuff, but he talks about an area of the country, but he's not allowed to bring up examples?
Because I'm talking about immediately around us, not what the rest of the country is doing. I'm talking about what's happening here.
They're federal laws.
The laws.
Well,
are-
I
And
don't
so-
know how they had theirs written in Hanover either.
If you're gonna present your information that people across the country are being sued, why wouldn't you call Glen Rock when this is their ordinance?
I pointed out at the last meeting that these sorts of ordinances are questionable at best, and lots of lawsuits have happened over them. Lots of municipalities have lost a lot of money in court. Because you're finding a certain class of citizens guilty of something without even having to be found guilty. If they call the police, regardless of whether there's a criminal charge, that can be a disruptive conduct. And I know the city had this ordinance, and it was overturned by the courts. I know Hanover had this ordinance, it was overturned by the courts. Glen Rock has this ordinance, and it hasn't been overturned by the courts because no one sued them. That's it.
Oh, I think they've been sued.
Not for this.
Not for this, otherwise it really would be gone.
I thought
This
they-
is,
well, they've been to court, and that may have been.
this is a terrible thing to do, it really is. I mean,
This is what I call government
disruptive
overreach.
conduct, I'm sorry?
This is what I call government overreach.
Oh, it really is, yeah.
I
mean,
don't
I
think-
understand wanting to inspect a property, but this is, I mean, the police can file disruptive conduct reports and have people evicted. I mean, this really just sets up the code inspector to be allowed to walk into somebody's house, and the tenant doesn't even have to be there, it could just
No,
be
it
the owner.
does not.
Oh, yeah, it does, it could be.
No,
the-
you have
it's-
to schedule.
You have to schedule it, but it has to be scheduled with the owner or the tenant.
And they have 3 months to do so.
Mr. President, wouldn't it make sense to take this and make it the simplest thing that we need to be able to, again, safety of our residents?
Well, that's not the motion on the
And-
table, sir. The motion on the table is
I
to
know.
adopt this
Well, we're in
ordinance.
discussion, and
We are discussing.
and I can't make a motion to amend it, but I think
It says the
this is-
disruptive occupants upon eviction shall not reoccupy any residential units on the same premises for a period of at least 1 year.
Yes, I think it goes
But it
too
could be-
far, but we could adopt it.
No. Glen Rock just talked about this the last month, that you have landlords that are moving these people around the borough. They're putting in something to not allow that. Because you've got a problem here, they get all these disruptions, they're horrible tenants there, and they're surrounding neighbors. So then the landlord shuffles them, 8 streets over. Well, they're putting something in so that doesn't happen anymore.
I didn't think we were looking to get police involved and look at nuisance cases.
Disruptive
I thought we-
conduct report shall count against all occupants of the residential unit. What about military occupants that aren't even home, it's just their home of record? Mom and dad are renting it, so I come home and I've got a disruptive conduct report on my record, and I wasn't even there, that's what it says. I think if we want to do anything like this at all, we have to start over and come back with something that doesn't discriminate against tenants. I mean, tenants have all kind of rights under the law if the landlord is mistreating them, or if the landlord is not taking care of pest infestation. There's actually free legal service that they could get. You know, for us to go and get involved with giving people demerits for their conduct, and then, yeah, I just,
But you don't, do you not think that we could adopt something else that doesn't include that, that helps the safety, health, and welfare of our residents? That doesn't include all this other crap that we're looking at. I mean, this is
why
like a
are we
renter's
more
Bible.
concerned about the safety and health and welfare of renters than we are about homeowners? Shouldn't we
Because that's our
inspect,
job, that's our job.
shouldn't we inspect homeowners, do that? I don't know that you don't have a loose railing and going up your stairs and you're gonna fall and hurt yourself. I should
That's
go
under
in
the,
and look.
that's under the IPMC, that we
Yeah,
can do that.
I should go in and inspect your house at least once every couple of years. I should.
Only
It
if,
might hurt.
well, only if
Yes,
it's,
sir.
Not my house.
don't we do that during, if it's sold? If a house is sold, doesn't their zoning officer go in?
No.
So the building inspector.
Only if it's FHA or something like
Well,
that, do
then
they go in
FHA
and
goes in
inspect?
and inspects it, but
We don't?
even then, you know, we don't.
Only if there's a permit issue.
I consider this an extreme overreach of government. I think you're stepping on people's Fourth Amendment rights. I think it's just a terrible thing, and,
Glen Rock's ideal,
huh?
I think we could come to some compromise.
Well, maybe we could, but it is, I mean,
Because
I've got so
I
much
agree with
yellow,
you. I
I've
think
got so
this
much
is-
yellow on this thing. This, to me, isn't a starting point.
No, we just
I could see-
brought this up to look at what Glen Rock does. We have Glen Rock, we have, who else did we get? Who else did you get, Andrew?
Oh, there was,
You had,
It was like
oh my
10.
God, you had 10 different ones. We should be able to pull something out of, you know, who's responsible for mowing the grass? Is it the tenant, is it the owner? You know, there are little things like that. You know, the infestation, you know, if when a tenant changes, we have the right to go in and inspect.
Oh,
Because we have
I have
buildings
no
in
problem
this
with
town.
inspecting when the tenant's not there.
We have buildings in this town that are rented to people that are ready to fall down, that I repeat, have no egress. If the front of that building is on fire, they can't get out. And I think we're doing a disservice by not at least having the opportunity to take a look at that on a,
But you
every
do have the
2-year
opportunity.
basis.
That's, I mean, if they have no.
We don't,
no
we've been
egress-
told so many times that we can't. If we have a broach problem, we can't go in and take a look at it.
Well, that's-
inspections on the change of tenant.
If the,
We
te-
do-
if the,
we do
this
inspections on
includes,
inspections.
this includes if the tenant complains, then we have the right to go in with the tenant to look at it. Now, we don't have the right to go in and look at it unless the owner says, okay. You think they're gonna say okay if it's like that?
I
No.
don't think that's true. I think if a tenant asks you to come and look at a problem, you're allowed to go. They're inviting you into their house. They have the right to invite you into their house. That's not a problem. That's never a problem. That's why I say, we have laws
But this
we
gives
have
a
laws
way
on
to
the
give a
books.
formal complaint.
Well, your formal complaint could be because someone got drunk and peed off their porch, but you know, and if there was an actual problem there, I guess you could make the complaint to the police, but there are laws against that already. We don't need to enact a whole nother law and give, by the way, the zoning guy or the code inspector the police powers to go into somebody's house without a warrant. I just don't agree with it.
I think we've got to find something that is an answer to the problems that we have. And we do have problems.
I I mean, if you honestly, if there's a safety issue where somebody can't get out of their house if the front door is on fire, then I suggest you report that to Wade so that he can do something about it. Because there are laws that say you have to be able to get out of your house.
Okay, I have 3 times and nothing's been done. Don't like to say that, but it's there. If we have an ordinance and somebody complains, or a complaint form, you know, which comes to him, council, I think it'll be more apt to be taken care of.
Well, we do have a motion on the floor. Can I make a motion to table, or do we have to vote on the motion that's on the floor?
Vote on the motion.
Now, you can go back.
Sorry?
I think you can go back to refer to committee, or lay on the table. It takes a majority of
Motion
those.
on the floor.
We got to vote on the motion.
Yeah, vote on
There's
the
a
motion.
motion on the floor. so-
Call the
Roll
question.
call vote.
Let me look. I've got it all right here, since we're,
Oh, it's time for the vote.
All right,
you can't call it a,
why?
Ken?
because I'm calling a question of privilege.
There's a motion, there's the second.
A question of privilege, which doesn't need to be seconded.
You are privileged because you own your home. You don't have to put up with all this shit.
No, but I have to put up with the shit for the 2 houses next to me that
Guys,
haven't been,
guys,
had
there's- we're
anything done
recording
for
this for
5
YouTube.
years.
This is a council meeting, and council has a motion on the floor.
Okay. The motion is to adopt the ordinance in front of us. Go ahead.
Advertise.
Advertise the motion in front of us.
Suspend the rule.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
My vote is no.
No.
My vote is also no. I make a motion to table this until we have enough time to come up with something that makes sense.
So how about if we just get a committee that's aside from the borough council, just some earlier, just sit down and go through something and come up with something that's satisfied with
Yeah,
the majority of things we need without
about
putting
all
this other
the
stuff in there.
the merits, and
Yep.
I agree with that. Raise your hand if you want to be on a committee to discuss this. All right, we have Denny. How many do we need? Can't have more than 3, so we have Denny.
Well, it depends if I'm part
Oh,
of it.
if you're on, yeah.
He doesn't count.
All right, well, we'll have Denny, and Dave, and you can be on it as, in your capacity as mayor, and,
We don't have a quorum.
I'm sorry? And Dave, you want to chair it? All right, thank you. Along those lines, seems like an appropriate time to read this. I've done a lot of thinking about the problem on Juanita and whatnot. I've talked to the mayor and I've talked to Ryan about this. So last meeting I made a motion to help the Juanita community. It was made from my heart. It was passed by council due to their compassion and empathy. Council has a fiduciary obligation to not spend public funds on private problems. Sometimes this line gets blurred as a private problem affects multiple homes and citizens and threatens to spread to other homes. Each situation such as this must be evaluated independently, and I urge this council and future councils to not consider this one instance as a precedent, but to evaluate problems on their own merits. In furthering this goal, I am appointing a standing committee which shall be called the New Freedom Health and Safety Committee. Because of the importance of the purpose of this committee, it shall consist of the mayor as chair, president and vice president of council as sitting members. The manager shall also be a member, and if needed or desired by the committee, a citizen at large may be appointed. The committee shall report to council. Issues may be brought to the committee during public comment or through the borough office. The committee shall set their guidelines within 30 days of this date and report back to council.
I think that's right. I've thought about this too. I think we have a lot of situations where if my neighbor does something, I'm not calling the borough to come out there and fix it. Or the neighbors on both sides do something, I'm not calling the borough to come out there and fix it, repair it, do whatever. I think we can do better.
Do I need to make a motion to adopt the committee, or do I just appoint it?
You as president can appoint.
There you go. Okay, Kim?
Good.
They'll go kind of hand in hand with your, with the committee for this ordinance too, so that's a good thing.
And we'll set up a meeting shortly.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Rare, you said that it had been inspected before the tenant moved in, so do you think that the roach problem was there before the new tenant moved in?
Yes.
Or did the tenant bring the problem?
The roaches have been there for a year and a half. The roaches were there before this recent tenant moved in.
I thought the tenant had been there for a year.
No, this is a new
A
tenant.
new tenant was allowed to move into a roach-infested home because we don't have anything to inspect our rental units.
You know, I'll tell you, as somebody who's gone around inspecting properties, if you walk into a property and you don't know there are roaches there, you're blind. Because they scatter when you walk in, and they're everywhere, and they crawl around the kitchen sink because there's water, and
Apparently, this tenant said she knew, but she was willing to move in and like go to bat and help fight the problem and do this. And I'm thinking to myself, are you nuts, woman?
I'm sorry?
I said, the tenant that moved into it was well aware of what she was moving into.
Okay, then I believe that.
And-
Are you
and-
saying there's a current tenant in there?
I apologize, I
with no
misspoke, not
kitchen,
the
no-
original one where everything stared, but
It
it
would have
was,
had to be in since November.
yeah, she's
first.
new, yeah. She literally, not the one that's like condemned where all the problems started. It's this one, then I think it's, her name's Ann.
Oh, well, no,
Then
yeah, we know.
it's on the other side of Ann, from what I'm.
Okay, yes.
So it's
they
not
were
the,
trying to
I
make
thought
that up.
originally it was this one, but no, I remember now. And she,
Okay.
that rental unit was infested because they had moved down the block.
That's
But she was
113.
well aware of it when she moved in.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, that's 113.
All right, community center cleaning and floor sweeper scrubber proposal, which was previously tabled. Question?
It was vacant when we were there.
Right, it was vacant. Now, apparently, she's saying. they
The,
went
no,
in.
where the roach problem started is still vacant.
Correct.
Right.
It was, it's
Two
a,
doors down.
yeah,
Which
2
is
doors
113.
down.
Well, that means they moved in the last 10 days.
She was telling me.
Do they realize it's being treated and they gotta get out of there?
I don't know, but at the,
Okay.
I was talking to Ann at the polls, and that's where she told me that this woman had moved in and said that she was just going to tough through it and prove that she was there for like the community. I thought to myself, you're
Yeah, I know.
That's good.
looking for Cocoa Puffs and you fresh short of a Happy Meal.
Wanna look into that? I mean, we really need to know, because if she's like there.
Were those units treated today?
They were.
Yeah.
Is that the first treatment since the
Was.
last meeting?
It's the first of 8 treatments over the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, they had 2 trucks out there
Yeah.
today.
Mhm.
What was the delay for a month?
They're on vacation.
No,
Wasn't it?
that was,
They were on one vacation for one day.
well, first of all,
Oh, well, that's what Ann said. She said.
Yeah.
we worked to get the quotes. We had to find a time where we could have people out to produce those quotes, meet with regional executives to try to get this project underway. There was a time frame in there for them to develop it. There was a time frame in there for us to approve it, get the word out to the tenants that it's, or to the occupants, owners, that it's been approved. Things aren't gonna happen overnight. It
Wasn't-
happened today.
Wasn't the motion to have it tinted?
No.
In order to do
That wasn't
that,
the motion?
in order to do that, you were, the estimate was $250,000.
Are you sure the motion that you made was not to tint?
I don't think so, I think it was not to exceed 10,000.
What,
I thought it was to tint.
It was
to get
discussed.
quotes
That
for
would've been-
potential
again,
tenting.
that was,
Yeah.
would have been $250,000. That was from
So you looked
two
into
separate,
it?
yeah, absolutely. But that was from two separate companies.
With the current treatment, what does it consist of? Like, I know you said 8 treatments, can you be in the house? Are you?
The first 2 treatments,
One to
they need to be out, all pets and people need to be out of the house for 3 hours.
Is this a
Treatment.
fall situation? Do they-
It's a form of it, but it actually is intensive and it goes into
Cracks and
cracks and
crevices.
crevices and wall cavities and everything else. And they actually
cool.
inject it underneath the molding and in any corners and everything. So it's quite an invasive treatment for the first 2, and then the 6 after that are a different form of treatment. And then there's a warranty period, and then
How long is the warranty period?
90 days.
And 117 is being treated?
Absolutely. All units were treated today.
All units at the same time, or
All well,
when you go from
in
one to
success-
the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to look at the floor cleaning proposal again.
Well, it was tabled at the last meeting, but I did want to just provide an update on some initiatives that we've implemented in the office to try to improve the situation at the community center. So we developed a new checklist that will be available to anyone renting the auditorium and the kitchen. That checklist needs to be signed off on. It is, and will be implemented into MyRec, so software as we've talked about in the past. So that checklist clearly defines what is expected of that renter upon leaving the facility and what they need to do. It's going to indicate exactly where the supplies are at. If the supplies aren't there, what they need to do. There'll be a telephone number on that inspection list on if they have any emergencies or need to get a hold of anybody. Additionally, following that, we've created an internal checklist that we're going to use and document every single time that there's a facility rental that's for parties and weddings and celebrations and bingos and everything else. That will be completed. There's an opportunity there for that person to upload pictures, provided, it date stamps, time stamps, everything. That will be included and uploaded into our software. So those are 2 things that we've done. On top of that, I think that if we are able to implement these 2, the checklist and the inspection, that we should look at reducing the cleaning of the facility to once a week on Sundays so that it's ready for the week. And to move forward with that.
So this last month on October, it was $1,350 to clean the community center. Generally, it has been shown as $150, or if she's paid for twice, it's $300. Here, it's 2 times for $550, and then 2 separate other ones for $400 each. How did you come to those totals? I've never seen those totals before.
I'd have to go back through and look to see what actual days, because I think there was some overlap with some weeks in there.
It's 9/24 and 10/1, $550, 10/8, $400, and 10/15, $400.
Again, I'll have to go back through and look at the dates.
So with this, you're saying were not any longer interested in the rental of the cleaning machine? You wanna try to see if this works?
I'm not saying we're not interested, I'm providing an update since this item was tabled on what we're trying to do to eliminate the need for more expenditures.
And at the last meeting, I was accused that I complain a lot and I don't come with solutions. And I'm gonna point out here that in September of '22, the manager's report said a borough employee will inspect the facility after every rental. In January '23, I talked about cleaning the community center, the cost, not justified, return of deposits. It's 1 hour into the meeting. The official borough minutes for January '23 says Erica Rarick requested an agenda item to be added to February's meeting to discuss the cleaning of the community center. February '23, I talk again about the community center deficits, leases, public works, supposed to be cleaning the tables. Per Andrew, a borough employee will check the community center. That's found at 2 hours 45 minutes in. April '23, Rec comes to talk about the community center not being cleaned. Andrew, I asked for Public Works to check it each evening. Andrew states it's better for Public Works to check it in the morning by 7:30 a.m. That's 17 minutes in. The official borough minutes in April, Public Works will begin checking the community center daily to ensure the facility is clean and ready to use. May, I talk about how Public Works is not checking the community center, same conversation as previous months, 24 minutes in, and then the discussion we had in October. So I have given many times solutions, and I wanted to put that out there because that was a complete inaccurate statement.
Is there anything from the cleaning committee?
Well, we had looked at the, if you purchase something, you got a warranty period of 30, 60, 90 days. And the expense is up there, and your maintenance, then you're gonna have to take care of yourself. If you look at leasing, which includes all of your maintenance, might cost you a little bit more, but in the long run, we all look at vehicles, just got my wife a new vehicle. Okay, it's 100,000 mile, 10-year warranty. Why would I go to Ford and get a 2-year 60,000 if I can get,
Yeah.
it's, and have to, me worry about replacing a transmission
Yeah.
in a car that's, at 62,000 miles is going kaput.
I think what we have here is the proposal on the sweeper scrubber, and if council wants to take any action on that or not.
Yeah, I think we're gonna table it again until we see how it works with the single cleaning. Is that good with everybody?
Yep.
So we're gonna leave it tabled.
Can I make a suggestion? I have an idea about how to help with the cleaning and potentially help EMS as well. With EMS, there's a lot of downtime. Is there a way, and I don't know the legalities, so I'm hoping you could help, that to get the community center clean, have EMS or fire do the cleaning and the borough provide some type of donation to eliminate the cleaning ladies' fees? They're right there, have a downtime, they can go and inspect the building. We can do some type of donation to EMS, the same amount that we're paying a cleaning lady, and we're keeping it within our community and helping EMS.
EMS is paid employees under a contract, and it's not gonna happen. Fire, they're there when the whistle goes off. And they have, on various occasions, stayed in there, they set up tables, they take down tables, they clean the floors, mop them, you know, with the dry mop, and then they go over some of it with a wet mop. Almost for all the bingos, they are responsible to do a lot, other than put up the stage when needed, and just because of the problems of putting that stage together, it needs one of our public works, one or two of our public works.
No, I'm saying after like a wedding event, that we have the cleaning lady go in, can we have something where we pay EMS?
No,
And-
not EMS,
Fire.
they're already
Fire,
being
just-
paid.
Well, somehow, a volunteer from EMS, something that we can, instead of paying like a contractor to clean, somehow get it back into the fire department. Then that'll help their budget.
Personally, I
used to
think that
clean
would
the
be
fire
a
department,
logistic
didn't
nightmare.
That's where I don't know, because we have.
Did the fire department use,
They're on the call, how would they?
excuse me,
Yeah.
did the fire department used to clean the community center?
We cleaned it every time we used it.
Just when you used it?
And they still do that.
I appreciate, you know, you
Yeah,
can maybe mention it if you want. All right, thank you. Draft employment agreement previously tabled.
I make a motion to stay with chapter 30, since that's how the borough manager has been handled since its inception.
Well, this invokes chapter 30, it doesn't negate chapter 30.
To stick clearly with chapter 30 as outlined is my motion.
I personally would like to see negotiating committee, which I guess would include personnel, but some type of negotiation. This isn't something I don't personally feel this should be brought up in public council. I think it's a personnel issue, you know.
I agree. I think we should schedule an executive session. It should be all of us. I think we should schedule an executive session.
Well, and that's fine too.
Probably after.
You know, you have a personnel committee, and they can certainly,
I believe Andrew's on the
Take that.
personnel committee.
Sorry?
Andrew's on the personnel committee.
Obviously, he'd have to recuse himself for this issue. Request for handicap parking space at 113.
we've already turned down one resident for that.
Yeah, we gotta go back to that because she made a motion.
There was no second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I think,
No, does it, no, it's second.
I was saying, we need to make sure that no one wanted to second that before we move on.
Oh, okay. Do I have a second? Okay, we'll have an executive session after our next meeting to discuss. Okay, yeah, we did.
After our extra meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would work. Yeah.
No, I meant after our extra meeting.
Can I ask you, what do other boroughs do when people request a handicap parking space? I mean,
Yeah, do you guys, and I'm not familiar, so I'm not sure. Do you have,
A prize
is there an
person.
ordinance that New Freedom has to determine when how to do it, how to apply for a process? Or?
I don't think we do. Not the
There's
others.
special permitted zones.
And it has to be so many extra feet and, right?
Yeah.
Is it 40 feet?
That's where we went out in the last one,
It's
yeah.
14 feet. I mean, the problem that you have is a lot of the houses don't have sufficient frontage in order to put a parking spot in.
That's what is shown in these pictures. The
Right.
property itself is about 14 feet wide. Your normal parallel parking space is 21, 22 feet.
Did we all get pictures?
Yeah, it's in the,
Oh, okay, you have to.
is this his van?
No.
Not just a van that happens to be there? Okay.
Sorry, Jane, but I don't have that.
And the only problem with that one is, man, that is a congested area right there.
That's not real,
Yeah.
unless he got to take a picture.
What's at the back of this property? We had discussed with the previous one next to the post office that they had additional property in the back that could be utilized.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason for denying the spot. Now, I tried to figure it out on Google Earth, and it looks like there's a shed in the backyard. So that kind of restricts any ability. There's no side yard like the other property. And what's the length on a parking spot of this nature?
For parallel parking, which is needed on this street, I believe 21 or 22 feet.
What's
Now, is that for
what's the
handicap?
average?
Because there's a special
Only have 14
for
feet.
handicap.
Yeah, you only got
They only have
14.
14 feet.
That's the width of the house.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
width of the property.
That's what I'm saying, the house or the property, but
It's the same issue as the other one, taking the neighbor's parking.
understood. I'm not.
I thought we set a precedent that we are not going to do that, put in individual handicapped spaces, period, because it's gonna set a precedence, and here we have it. So we already set a precedent and said no.
Well, he didn't have room, didn't he? I didn't know we set a
They
precedent.
had, the first one had room,
He
they had
did?
plenty of room, they were in the post office.
It would have been, it would
If
have
we went out
been,
into the street to have it, the right or
it would have been on his neighbor's, in front of his neighbor's house.
Which it doesn't matter, it's all public
This is
parking.
a tough one, because, you
Yeah.
know, like, I'm
not saying we should just go ahead and do this, I'm just trying to think it out and discuss it.
Yeah.
So it's a difference of 7 feet between a normal spot and a handicap spot, correct? You said,
well, no, 14 feet is just the width of the house.
that's the width of the house, but you said the handicap spot is how long?
Well,
You said
again,
20.
it's not necessarily that it's a handicap spot, it's a parallel parking spot. Parallel parking spots are always longer
Yeah.
than just a regular pull-in spot.
Correct.
Especially if it's made parallel
handicap
parking.
parking spot is even bigger than that.
No, well, only if it has to be the van accessible.
Drive around the block 10 times.
If it's not a van accessible, which in this case, it's just.
Yeah,
a
Tuesday
normal-
nights, that's the way it is at my house, and Sundays.
Just a normal spot, it's not.
What, wait a minute, that's not what we said at the last.
20 feet
this
minimum.
came up.
Does this open the borough up to curb and ramp requirements?
20 feet minimum, and a regular spot is?
I mean, really.
I
we
just
wanna
Googled
address
it,
the
it said
street.
the non-commercial driver's license road test, drivers must park their vehicle midway between two uprights in a space that is 24 feet long and 8 feet wide.
Yeah, but that's for,
That's even more.
That's the
driver
the
test.
driver test, which was, they are usually marked, let's see, parallel parking, the standard width is 7.9 feet, while the standard length is 20 feet. They are usually marked at 6.9 feet to 7.9 feet.
Would you have to go by the vehicle?
The other house had access in the back. They had a
Yeah.
garage, they had.
They could have put a pad back there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've done anything yet.
I don't know if they have either, but they had the space. This person, apparently, there's a shed in the back, there's not easy access to the backyard.
Once you put this in, future ADA compliance, what does that open up the borough to?
Well, anytime we touch a street, we need to make sure that we're addressing, especially when we're utilizing liquid fuels, that we're addressing curb.
Sure, but requirements change, so you put it in, and 5 years later, requirements
Absolutely.
change.
Absolutely.
What are you opening up the borough to?
Wouldn't be
Well, that
that-
would be with any, that would really be with any curb ramp project. I mean, you could meet the, just as you said, you could meet the federal regulation this year, and 5 years down the road, there could be a change.
So we have a motion?
No. I would entertain a motion.
Making a motion so we can properly discuss it.
To what?
To properly discuss it, make a motion.
A motion?
What's the motion? Yeah.
For the approval of the handicap parking spot.
A motion to approve?
I'll second it.
Second. Discussion?
We had
What
most of
what do
it.
they do in other municipalities when they have a situation like this? I mean, obviously, you're gonna be taking away space on either side from the neighbor.
In my experience, there's always been an ordinance that governed it. It sounds like you guys-
What typically does the ordinance say?
I wouldn't want to speculate
Yeah.
off the top of my head, because it would be something I want to look at.
Do we identify just a handicapped parking space, but it's not exclusively for individuals?
Well, you can't,
Park.
right,
You
it's
can't
a
make it
handicap, that means
Anybody
anybody with a
handicapped
placard
can
could park there, absolutely.
Actually, not.
Well, that
Actually,
has been
that's-
done in New Creek. Now,
I
across
would-
from Hartenstein.
Didn't you also have a request from Front Street for a disabled spot and it was
It was turned down.
declined?
Front Street, the other one was Broad Street, that I remember.
You know, there was one for
Just-
Front
There's
Street
one
around
on
the
Front
end.
Street too.
Jay?
know with the
ADA requirements, like Erica said, you're gonna open yourself up for a can of worms.
Yeah.
I did curb and sidewalk, concrete road work for 10+ years before coming here. There are so many requirements,
Yeah.
and that street does not have any of them because of the age of the
Yeah.
street. And you're gonna open up yourself a can of worms. If you do it for this person, then we gotta go back to the Broad Street and do it for them.
What
Absolutely.
happens if
And everywhere
we
else.
turn it down and we get sued under ADA? Right, you're
Okay.
either way, it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword.
I don't know that they can sue you for not putting in an ADA compliant in a public parking zone, can they?
It says here that the spot must be at least 96 inches wide to fall under the ADA requirements.
That's
And if
wrong.
it's van accessible, it has to be 132 inches wide. So the problem is if the roads aren't wide enough, then you can't follow the ADA guidelines.
It says right here, local authorities may limit access to a parking space reserved under paragraph 2 to a specific vehicle, license plate, or other method of
Yep.
designation. So,
We did it.
That's permanent parking, which also restricts your liquid fuels fund.
this,
So you can do it, but you're gonna start,
this
you're
is
gonna start.
Well, that's why we
this is for
didn't do it.
disability or veterans.
We didn't do it on Front Street because of liquid fuels.
Right, so
Um,
the ordinance, the section is chapter 207-29, special purpose parking zones. Special purpose parking zones are established in the locations listed below. And the one right now is Franklin Street West, location 101, authorized purpose is handicap. Done by ordinance number 2001-3.
Well,
So
it
it would
depends
need to be
whether
an
it's,
ordinance.
it depends whether it's a parallel parking space. I don't know, what's 3.6 meters? That's what it's saying it has to be.
Let's do it this way. Can you take the action to give us both sides of the equation? And,
You have a motion on the floor.
hang on. If you would withdraw your motion till we have all the information, that would be great.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second.
Thank you.
And 3.6 meters is 11 feet, .811.
So that's how long it's
Yeah.
No. You're not fitting a car in,
12 feet.
not in
And
a
you-
parallel
What
spot.
did you say?
3.6 meters is 11 feet, .811, so I guess it's like,
You're not parallel parking at 12 feet.
You go, maybe. You got a smart car.
I
Well,
need
maybe
usually
that's
4
not
parking
parallel
spots for me
parking.
to.
Maybe that's
I'll drive
on
around the
the
block
end
10 times,
or
so I don't
in
have to go.
That's big.
in a parking lot.
Okay. I appreciate it, but I think let's get the information from the solicitor at the next meeting, and I would like to take action quickly, but
I think we're gonna get ourselves in trouble if we do this and didn't do it for 2 other people.
yeah, I tend to agree. Okay. Administrative reports, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
You will this time, right?
I will.
Okay. Manager?
I don't have anything additional this month except for the items that were on the agenda that we've worked on. So I don't have anything else unless anybody has any questions.
Okay. I don't have anything, but here's the thing, Kim, this is the motion that we, or not motion, but the committee that I appointed, Ryan,
Okay, good.
for the thing, so you have a copy of it.
Very, very good.
Mayor?
I have nothing.
Okay. Nothing. Erica, Police Commission?
During trick or treat, they had a car in every borough, everything went well. One of the chargers possibly chewed up a piston, possibly a new engine.
Oh, jeez.
We'll get $4,000 out of the warranty if an engine is needed.
How old's the car?
Charger,
How old is it?
oh, how old?
I
Didn't
don't
say
think
how old.
that's very old. Isn't that the one that police, they had just replaced?
Might cost us $8,000 if engine needs to be replaced. The rest of the car is very good. There's one new car on the road. One new car needs a console. The parts are still hard to get. Conversation with Engelbert Financial to move away from PMRS. Going to continue to look into it and see about moving forward and having them manage the investments on the pension. Police Department changed payroll companies to Paychecks. Going to be figuring the IGA, it's going to be by hours or incidents. And
I'm sorry, what was the last sentence?
one of the items on the IGA is to figure out if it's going to be figured by hours or incidents. That was one of the questions that had been kind of left at the end of, before it came to boroughs last year.
Wow, if they change that, I would guess that it's gonna be difficult to be able to prove it, because everyone's gonna have to try to figure out what that means. Okay.
There was a motion and a second to put an old police vehicle on municipal. Commission signed, approved the Glen Rock Services Agreement for them to pay $300,000 for 2024. Finance Committee is meeting next week. The budget does include Glen Rock at $300,000 and the collective bargaining. You can have an executive session if you want, but the collective bargaining is still at the attorneys. Everything's pretty much figured out, waiting just to get it back from the attorneys. The Glen Rock agreement will start January 1st. And Shrewsbury took a vote to accept the draft agreement budget for 2024 for the police commission, so we could take a vote too,
We did last time.
to do the draft.
No, we said late. We said it would be approved at a later date.
Oh, we did, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question, it went away now.
I apologize for not being there. I had surgery the day before and I forgot to call you. But
I'm sorry?
I said I apologize for not being there. I had surgery before and I didn't call Andy to be there.
I would entertain a motion to approve New Freedom Borough's current portion of the budget, which is still draft, but it is $762,976.77, which is our portion as well. I verified it mathematically. I'm sure other people have too, so.
It's a $56,629 increase, which includes approximately $24,000 for the $60,000 that Glenrock will not pay.
I'll make that motion.
Motion?
You made it, is he seconding it?
Oh, I didn't know you made it.
I
I
can
thought you were
make it.
I
entertaining
thought
it.
you did, you said it.
I'll second it. How's that? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
My vote is no.
Two. My vote is aye. Motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Erica. Monthly progress reports for the engineer. So, it's 2 seconds.
It says the architect inspected existing buildings on 10/27. I've been asking since, I think, April of '22 for a list of buildings and their health after, inspections. Can I get that? And,
Well, this is part of the feasibility study.
yeah, for the feasibility, yeah, so the buildings that are out there at Margie Goodfellow, right?
Right.
But I've asked since April of '22 to get a health report on all borough buildings, so if I could still get that, that would be wonderful.
I think they do that. Just write something up. Sweet. Anything else on warehouse? Okay, Era?
When they get their first bullet point, the letter says, well, they're gonna complete a task by the time they get that done.
The kickoff meeting?
Well, it says desktop calculations, right, design memo with preliminary construction cost opinion.
Yeah, we just got that, that was towards the end of last week. Yeah, they just finished that up, so we can review that next month.
Anyone have anything else? Okay, water system?
We put out loggers checking for water leaks, leaks detected.
No, no leak detected, this one. We fixed the leak that was one of the contractors hit one of the service lines, and they were doing a directional drill, which it happened, it got fixed.
That well one upgrading design. I guess we've spent a portion of that 80-something thousand this year, or where's that at since we approved it to look at options?
That's what we were talking about with Harris came back with the cost of stuff the other week, so we just got that.
Yeah, I mean, that's still early on in that phase.
Right.
They haven't done anything yet, they're still investigating. Like, wasn't there like the design phase, was that the first phase?
The design phase, yeah, I think there was a little bit of research into the design phase, but they're just early on in those stages. So they're gathering information, and then they went on, there was a meeting here, there was a meeting on site, so they can gather information. They pulled old drawings, so it's up to them now to incorporate what the improvements are needed into the building.
So you're still throwing chemicals at it?
We're adding the chemicals that DEP told us that we're supposed to add, yes.
Yeah, doing that. And how's the health of, could I have to shut it down for a while and so forth? And don't you have to like shut it down and clean something out, take it apart?
We have to clean up some calcium deposit that gets into the pipes, yeah, because it builds pressure, so.
And that's
It's not a health issue.
Okay.
It's just a thing that
Maintenance?
happens. Yeah, it's just a maintenance thing that you have to do.
But you have to do that because you have to put so much in there, you have to do that a couple times a month, take it apart?
When did
It
you?
all depends on how long we have it running.
Yeah.
We try and limit that well because that's our number one issue with that well.
Oh, I see October is, yeah, 0.
Yeah, we didn't run that well at all.
Okay.
I just turned it back on this week, trying to limit how much we're using it just because of the problems that it causes.
Well 3 was only 4 days. Does it have a similar problem, didn't you say?
No, that doesn't have the calcium problem. The problem there is the Susquehanna River Basin dictates how many gallons you can pump a day out of the wells. So you can only pump so much. So I kind of cut back on that well for the month, let one of our other wells run.
Thanks, Don. Wastewater system?
They televised over 5,000 feet of sewer main. Did that show anything or
There are no major
looking for
issues.
anything?
Well, I mean, the system gets flushed and televised on a rotation. So obviously that's helping the condition of the system, and if there's any major defects, we're able to address it at that time.
This was a little confusing. The staff was not happy with the form installation. Had a 90-degree elbow fitting located about 12 feet directly above the storm drain. Who put the 90-degree elbow there that they weren't happy with?
And that would have been whenever the ferric chloride line was run. I'm not sure exactly when that was installed, but they made the fix and now it's a clean sweep.
Are you talking, it's been there a long time?
It's probably been there since they did their upgrades, their last upgrade years ago, like back in the, like early 90s, I think is when they did the upgrade for some of that.
So 30+ years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was just a concern there that if it would fail, there was an issue with its location.
Code enforcement?
And number 1 to 4, the civil complaint was filed back in September. Is there an update on that?
We did receive word back from the council that we can proceed with any filing.
Well, this is going back like September, so it hasn't been filed?
The civil complaint has not, no, but it's still documented as a violation, but we wanted to make sure that there was no issues with the pending litigation before any additional litigation was filed.
The council as a whole told you, you just said council said you can move forward?
Legal counsel?
Okay, that's what I was
Special
like, I
legal
didn't.
counsel, yeah.
Okay. When will that be done?
I would hope sometime this week.
On the number 5 to 7, the second quality of life violation issued, that's the escalating one, isn't it?
It is. What goes from 25 to 50, and that goes to 100, then 250, then 500.
So I've seen that, and it is pretty bad there. So there's been a civil complaint filed for non-payment of that?
That's correct. It was filed, just as an update that occurred in, actually as of last week. There is we'll say a caretaker for the property that indicated that the property owner is having some health concerns and some possibly early dementia concerns. They thought they mailed the payment out, but they found the payment and the check written out, and it was never mailed. So we did receive payment for those 2 citations, so we're going to withdraw the private criminal, or I'm sorry, the civil complaints at the magistrate, and work with the property owner and caretaker to try to get things cleaned up. But clearly, the 2 $500 fines got the attention, but it seems like there was some other circumstances with the property.
What about number 12? What is happening there? That was, compliance was due earlier this week?
Yeah, it would have been due over the weekend, and I wasn't out today on that street to take a look at that.
Recreation?
Hold on.
I'm sorry, we have subdivision and land development also.
When is Franklin Square due to be completed?
Yeah, basically, I think what's gonna happen there is, they'll have some commercial space that'll be vacant until they find tenants in building 2.
I thought that was gonna be their offices?
One suite, of that will be, which will be the closest to the development itself. I believe there could be 2 to 3 other commercial spaces in the bottom.
Closest to the development, you mean closest to
Away from
Franklin
Frank?
Street?
No, away
No.
from Franklin.
Away from Franklin.
Good, okay.
Okay, Brett?
Okay. As we discussed earlier, there's a couple items that needed to be added to the budget. They did ask about the intergovernmental agreement. I was wondering if there was any update or forthcoming action on that.
Not at this point, no.
Nothing new with the farmer's market. Some of their tennis programs are now starting to end because of the colder weather. The fall session will begin on Saturday, October 28th, and will go until it's too cold to play. The event that we were talking about earlier, so the Rec Commission hosted a thank you gathering at Vortex on October 21st. They did make a motion to reimburse Rick Garvey $169.91 for the event. I did then inquire about why this wasn't approved beforehand, and I think that they're going to take steps to address that moving forward. And Also, as I mentioned earlier, none of the funds that were spent went to alcohol. It was only for appetizers. If anybody had a beer or whatever, that was on their own. Veterans Day, I want to thank everybody that came out for that. Came up a little bit afterwards, clean up. It looked like it was a really nice event. And just as a reminder, the park feasibility questionnaire sent out on Savvy Citizen, and it's also going to be in the newsletter. I believe that was it, unless anybody else has any other questions.
No, was a great event.
Somebody did a heck of a job getting donations and everything for door prizes.
Yeah, they did a lot. Oh, there is one other thing I meant to mention. After the meeting, we did go up to the community center trying to find a good resolution on all the tables, because the chairs are outside the room, and then the pickleball nets. There are a couple options that I'm going to look into as a possibility. It's kind of like what they have for the volleyball nets, the post that goes into the recessed hole that has a cap. Then they could possibly use these for pickleball and tennis and not have 15-foot long nets that might take up that whole room. So I think it might be a little bit.
They wouldn't be self-standing nets anymore.
Correct. They just
That's good.
take the tension off, pull the posts out, wrap them up or roll them up, however they work, and then they can be stored in the corner instead of taking up that much room. So
That's a good idea.
hopefully I'll have a couple options to see if Rec is interested in that. We've got an idea about the cost. I think they use 4 courts, so we need four sets.
Pickleball? Yeah, they use 4.
Yeah, and then I guess the installation, I don't know if we can run a core driller to get into the floor, or what exactly would be involved in that, so that's something else we need to look at.
You already talked about EMS and fire funding.
We sure do.
Yeah. Infrastructure, personnel, we're gonna have an executive session at the next meeting. Anything public safety wise? Now, you have anything? Yeah. We have the York Adams Tax Bureau report.
We have a schema meeting coming up. Do you want to be taken off that? Because it's at night. Andrew.
Well, I think that would be part of reorganization in January. We can look at that.
Okay, all right,
I don't-
okay. I'd go,
Yeah.
but could use some backup somewhere.
Is there anything on this
No, I just
tax report?
was sharing it
Just
with all. It's
share it,
interesting
yeah.
to see the statistics of
Yeah.
what they collect and what they process on a monthly basis. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Any other public comment?
I'd like to commend Andrew Schaefer on presenting the budget.
Yeah, you did do a good job.
Thank
I would entertain a motion.
you.
But,
Motion is for a continuation.
well, yes, I'm sorry, for a continuation meeting on November 28th at 6 o'clock.
Make a motion for the continuation meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? The vote is up.
Andy, 28, right?
That's correct.
28, yes.
16. It was the 113.
pile it up, it just, it's back up,
Oh, you're all the way out here.
you can't get that.
Hey, you want to follow me on that thing?
Push out.
It is, I mean, it's like city parking, like a lot of Baltimore City, instead of being parallel, if the street's wide enough, they dangle a little bit, but that's obviously not an option there.
Yeah. I grew up with one.
You know, I thought about
Oh,
it.
yeah?
I saw, yes, I did. I saw somebody else do that.
And it was always an issue.
I'll believe it. That's fine.
But then, there was a field right across. And they felt that out of the old house on the left side of the street.
Yeah, I like that.
On the right.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it St. Jude.
There was a field on the left, and you could park there.
Well, Andy, we're still working on shades for certain
Forget your hat.
areas, correct?
Forget your hat.
Yeah, yeah, well, at least I don't know where it's at.
We'll jot it.
That's in my garage. Like, my solar lights didn't come on half the time because it's so bright.
Oh, yeah, that's how you make it really is bright.
And then, like, go above it and say, like, if anybody participated in it,
Sometimes.
then we've gotta go into the numbers and get it.
I can't. No.
Yeah, will back me up.
It'll be gone.
This
Don't worry.
this is your stuff. And she's like, did you see that?
These are mine.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We did some upgrades. Well, she goes to pick it up, and it was not what she envisioned. I'm on my way back.
Like,
I called
No matter what you do, and you fix it, no, about the lights, in your damn eyes, they come on when it gets dark outside. The dust of dawn lights, not looking at the big one. Shame. Yeah, that's how it is.
You can probably get one of the basic.
Well, I had to. Yeah.
Try to get you the better paint than.
Well, I'm gonna just go to Home Depot or whatever, and get the
oh,
first
my dad?
$5 case or see if I can get a tree. Usually we go up there with our spray. We have it
Your wife couldn't hold out. Wait for you.
Yeah,
We could've
she
gone out.
drove there.
My dad moved away.
Can't do that.
Have a great holiday.
What's that?
Have a good day.
He did want
Yeah,
it.
you do.
He said he hated driving down that road because he couldn't realize that people would go across it.
But it is true, you can't.
He used to live
Yeah.
on
$3,000 more for trade-in, and then,
do whatever.
you know, that brings it down to where we want it. And it also, that's not your payment. Just what the payment
You want to Friday, I mean,
take off.
serious.
Oh, it's not.
It's not bad.
There's enough there that you can.
It's gonna have such ripple sections.
No, on yours,
Part of it, Tuesday or
don't
Thursday.
realize this is, that they come up with so much stuff in the contract.
Just gotta deal with the seniors.
Yeah, they usually go by like 2.
But right now, we're in the heavy season of leaves, so.
5,000 or more over MSRP. And they were, the other guys
Not taking your candy either.
I've been
My wife loves it. I do too.
See, I see that.
And I say, you know, at the end
I am in, but I have to take Katie's van to the body shop. That whole mail thing, they're finally going in, so I'll be in like, I don't know, they said the earliest I can drop it off is 8:30. Then I gotta walk home to get the truck.
Yeah. And I say, no, I don't pay it. No, take it off. And they won't, especially around here.
Oh, yeah, they could get.
They, well, they
See ya.
just,
Thank you.
you know,
Turn the camera off.
Everybody go.
Give your wife or your daughters a hug.
Yeah, they're all in bed.
We said anything.
I have nothing against it. I truly don't. I hate that Denise said, throw it out. I have nothing against it.